Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. We're now starting the session. I'm about to get started now, so if everyone is ready, we are about to get going. Great. Hello and welcome, everyone. We'll be waiting a couple of moments to allow some more folks to join before getting started, but I'm happy to see so many people joining our session. It is really a thrill for you all to join us here today. Okay. Yes, I'd like to begin with some housekeeping items on how to use our platform comfortably and how to make the most of your participation today. This is a session where participants are muted, but you are encouraged to ask questions in our chat box. In your controls at the bottom of the window, click Chat. Here, you may freely post your questions. We will note these questions and provide answers to some of them at the end of the first portion of our program. Please note also, as I mentioned prior in the session, that we would also like to request participants display their full name and company name as their Zoom name. To change your name, click on Participants at the top button of the bottom of the Zoom window, and next hover your mouse over your name in the Participants list on the right side of the Zoom window. Then click on Rename, enter your full name and company name to appear in the Zoom meeting, and click on OK. Great, that should get you sorted. For all other concerns, as I mentioned also, it's very important if you encounter any issues during this session, please directly message our help desk. It's listed as a participant in the bottom right corner, and she will set you straight should you encounter any difficulties. Great, I'll give everyone just 30 seconds to get all of their housekeeping items in order, and then we'll get started. Okay. So now, before beginning, we would like to extend our many thanks to everyone who is joining us today. We are excited to lead this facilitation exercise and hope it proves useful for all of you. As you'd like to take note on your screen, my name is Caroline Pledger, and I am the Events Manager at the Business for Peace Foundation. At Business for Peace, we are thrilled to collaborate today with SDG Impact and work closely with UNDP Nigeria and the International Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria. Now, I am very fortunate today to be joined by Mohammed Yahya, UNDP resident representative, and would like to hand the mic to him for some opening remarks. Mr. Yahya, you have the floor. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Minister of State for Health, the Minister of Power, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, and Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to you all for joining us today to participate in this SDG Investor Map facilitation event as we officially launch UNDP's flagship initiative, SDG Impact, for the first time here in Nigeria. Today, we will have the opportunity to discuss different approaches to accelerating financing for achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and explore how various challenges can translate into investment opportunities across the country. The 2030 Agenda articulates the UN's universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. Yet it is estimated that achieving the SDG requires overcoming critical financing gap of about 83 trillion. This will require a greater role for the private sector and significant transformation in how economic growth and investment opportunities are generated. UNDP created the Global SDG Impact Initiative in 2018 to respond to these gaps in achieving the SDGs. As part of this initiative, the SDG Investor Map that we are launching today provides a digital tool that generates readily available data about investment opportunities and approaches that are critical in helping to bring new investors and market shapers to the table. It also aims to guide capital deployment towards areas where development needs and policy priorities align in achieving the greatest impact. Today, during the event, UNDP Nigeria, in collaboration with Business for Peace, is bringing together policymakers investors, companies to leverage local solution in effort to help accelerate the progress. It is my hope that today's session will be the first step in igniting critical discussion and partnership that are needed in order to catalyze the solutions across key sectors to support the sustainable development here in Nigeria. Let me once again welcome you all to kickstart this facilitation event, and I hope you will find it engaging and insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, UNDP representative, Mr. Yaya. If we could pause for a moment, I've been told that we are waiting for some of our guests who have arrived late, and we'd like to review some of the housekeeping items for those who have just joined the session. Thank you so much for joining us. We can wait a couple of minutes, and as we are doing so, before we get to the Honourable Minister who will be speaking, I'd just like to review that if you have any issues with the Zoom platform, you can contact our help desk. Additionally, if you have just joined the session, welcome. My name is Caroline Pledger. I'm the events manager here at Business for Peace, and we'll be getting going quite shortly after you have entered your full name and company name as your Zoom name. You can do so using the Participants tab. Again, should you encounter any issues, please contact our help desk and they will be happy to assist you. Given that we have a sizable call here, I think we'll just give it 60 seconds so that those who are encountering any kind of technical difficulties can get started. And for the rest of us, we can think about these wonderful introductory words that Mr. Yaya has just said to us. We're very excited to start the session to start discussing these important aspects of the SDGs into our financing agendas. So please stand by as we wait for these participants to join and get sorted. Thank you.
They're not used to like how the government just can show up like and stuff like that. So I feel
like. All right. Great. I would like to be able to resume now. I think it sounds like we've gotten all of our participants in. And again, a very warm welcome to everyone who has joined us for today's SDG Impact Facilitation session. To begin with more remarks, I'd like to thank Mr. Mohamed Yaya again for his wonderful words and for highlighting the urgency to meet the 2030 SDG agenda. Now, I would like to introduce the Honourable Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning in Nigeria. Minister, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let me start by recognizing the Nigeria resident rep of UNDP, Mr. Mohamed Yahya, and also my colleagues, honorable ministers that have been invited to this event, excellencies and participants. It is an honor and a privilege for me to be here today. As part of this event of SDG Investor Maps, which has brought together international and domestic investors and also companies working across the renewable energy sector, the agricultural sector, the health sectors, to explore local solutions to issues of the SDG financing in Nigeria. I would like to take this opportunity to commend the UNDP for its innovative SDG Impact Initiative and for developing the SDG Investor Map tools, which is aimed at mapping and making available a range of market-specific country-level investor opportunities to fund the SDGs in Nigeria. It remains true that successful implementation of Nigeria's sustainable development agenda requires innovative financing, meaningful private sector engagement, and the strategic deployment of development funds. This is especially true given the fiscal challenges that we have and also the increasing low domestic revenues post-COVID-19. We must foster collaboration at the national and regional levels between governments, with civil society, with the private sector, and with international development as well as financial partner institutions. In particular, The private sector must be better positioned to invest in and support the SDGs. There is a clear private sector interest and readiness to invest in bankable, aligned investment opportunities. Tools such as the SDG Investor Maps, therefore, will ensure that investors are empowered with accurate and country-specific information regarding investment opportunities. The key interventions and programs that the federal government of Nigeria has taken during these unprecedented times is evident in the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari. His Excellency, the President, has been proactive, people-oriented, and taking actions that are aimed at addressing the immediate health crisis, as well as averting drastic decline in the economy, and also protecting our most vulnerable people. We have had to take a number of steps, which included amending the medium-term fiscal framework, as well as the Appropriation Acts of 2020. We are currently implementing a multi-sector economic sustainability plan, which is a stimulus package that is costed at 2.3 trillion naira, is designed to reflate the economy, safeguard jobs, scale up our social investment programs, as well as provide succor to the poor and the vulnerable. Through the implementation of the Finance Bill of 2019 and also the Finance Bill of 2020, we are providing tax relief and other support measures to the small, medium enterprises. As we continue in our efforts to build back better, it is critical that we work to proactively close the SDG funding gap, in part through meaningful private sector engagement, but also through ongoing reforms aimed at improving the business environment and creating the right fiscal space for investments and supporting our effort to diversify away from oil and gas. Specific interventions that we have provided for in the finance bills, which have been drafted in line with the President's commitment to introduce annual financial bills, have also been used to support businesses. The bills will support the realization of our 2021 revenue projections. We are also adopting appropriate counter-cyclical fiscal measures and enhancing the efficiency of fiscal incentives to support the 2021 budget of economic recovery and resilience. Furthermore, in August 2020, the passage and the amendment of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA, will lead to significant reforms of the business environment by reducing bureaucratic red tape, encouraging investments, lowering costs, and ensuring regulatory burdens. Business operations will become easier and seamless, and ultimately businesses will thrive. In conclusion, I would like to say we should continue to be working and partnering together, especially now that we are at a critical crossroads when it has become necessary to address the financing gap for implementing the SDGs. Today's session will help to mobilize sustainable private sector financing and create necessary space for policy dialogue through the strategic use of tools such as the Nigeria Integrated National Financial Framework and the SDG maps. We are also now better positions to grow back better, to grow sustainably, and also to grow in a manner that is inclusive, and also to ensure more collective achievements of the Sustainable Development Goals. It's an honor to be here, and I thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you so much. We would really like to thank the Honourable Minister for her kind remarks and appreciate her insight into how Nigeria is advancing the SDG agenda through these thoughtful and important investments. Now, we'd like to move on to our next speaker. We are delighted to welcome Adejoke Orolope Adeofuluri, who serves as the Senior Special Assistant to the President on the SDGs in Nigeria. Let's turn our attention to Adejoke, who will share her expertise in the field. You have the floor.
Good afternoon, distinguished participants, Your Excellency, the UNDP Regional Director for Africa, Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Honorable Minister for Environment, Honorable Minister for Agriculture and Rural Development, Honorable Minister for Health, other senior government officials, the President Representative of Nigeria, Mr. Yahya Mohammed, the Economic Advisor with our brother and the very distinguished other participants. Give me great pleasure to be here to see that we are making progress on the strategic initiative despite the challenges of our time. Let me congratulate UNDP for pushing this initiative forward as part of our broader strategy for Nigerian integrated national financing framework for sustainable development. Indeed, it is gratifying to see the quality of participants at this event show how important this meeting very dear to our hearts. Please recall that a little over 5 years since President Muhammad Buhari, the President of Nigeria, joined other world leaders to adopt the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development as a successful development framework to the Millennium Development Goals. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development envisions a present and a future that is economically sustainable, socially inclusive, and environmentally resilient. This vision is expressed through the framing of 17 SDGs, 169 targets, and 30 key performance indicators. On financing development, historically, the international community signed on to spend 0.7% of world domestic product, GDP, approximately $500 billion annually to finance development. But it is argued that even if all nations manage to raise 0.7%, this would not be sufficient to realistically finance our common future. Pre-COVID-19, some estimated a gap of approximately 2.5 trillion annually to adequately fund the implementation of SDG in developing countries. For Nigeria, the pro-COVID-19 UN report estimates for approximately $85 billion annually to sufficiently finance the SDGs. And with COVID-19 challenging the prospect of achieving SDG globally, these estimates are better imagined. Evidently, public sector resources are insufficient to fund the SDG in Nigeria. There's urgent need to design an effective financing mechanism to sufficiently finance SDG in our country and globally, as we must move away from funding to financing the SDG. Mechanisms such as impact investing, green and blue bonds, diaspora and super bonds, as well as other viable and sustainable public-private partnerships provide viable alternatives. So as part of Nigeria's commitment to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, we have been working closely with our national and international partners to establish institutional frameworks that will guarantee the effective implementation of the SDG. For example, from 2016 to date, we have successfully realigned the national statistical system with the requirement and the indicator of the SDG. Similarly, we have domesticated and customized the Nigeria Integrated Sustainable Development Goals model that was launched in 2019 at UN General Assembly, which is our homegrown analytical tool for SDG-based planning at the national level and at the sub-national levels. Crucially, to operationalize the Addis Ababa Action Agenda for Financing Development, Nigeria was invited in 2019 as a pioneer country to lead the design and implementation of the Integrated National Financing Framework on Sustainable Development. Guiding our hearts Therefore, to know that we have since commenced the design of Nigeria International Financing Framework under the joint leadership of the Federal or the Honorable Minister for Finance, Budget and National Planning, and our office as a technical and secretariat and financial support from UNDP, which I must comment. UNDP has been so wonderful, the European Union has been so supportive, and other critical stakeholders working with our office and the entire government to make sure that we quickly get out this. Unfortunately, just as we commenced the decade of action from January 2020, the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic struck across the world. It has now challenged the prospect of achieving SDG. Indeed, beyond the health hazards and human consequences of the pandemic, the social economic uncertainty and disruption comes at a substantial cost to Nigerian economy, which is largely dependent on oil and gas revenues. Sadly, those who suffer the most are the poor and most vulnerable, women, children, and people with disability, as well as other persons. One of the most effective ways to address this is through impact investing and strengthening partnership between the public and private sectors and other critical stakeholders. I am aware the SDG Impact Investor Maps aim to identify SDG enabling investments and to provide investors, businesses, and government with unified tools needed to catalyze financing for the SDGs. This could have come at a better time, couldn't have come at a better time than now, as we strive to bring back better from the COVID-19 pandemic and to mitigate all the effects that comes with COVID-19. We're making progress in this, and we'll ensure that we leave no stone unturned to ensure that our people are prosperous and the people that are mostly hit by COVID-19 are empowered and sustained. Therefore, it is not only timely, but very appropriate as well. As we carefully deliberate today on this matter of public importance, please bear in mind that no single entity can do it alone. We need expertise and financial resources of all, the public, private sector, development partner, scientific community, and the wider civil society. We can count on our commitment and leadership of this country, on our commitment to ensure that the realization and acceleration of SDG in our country. Let me conclude by reaffirming Nigeria's commitment to the achievement of SDG in a post-COVID era. I sincerely hope that this initiative will strengthen our collective resolve to work closely together in support of the attainment of 2030 agenda for sustainable development that leaves no one behind. I wish all of us a productive event. Thank you. God bless Nigeria. God bless Africa.
Indeed. Thank you, Adejoke, for providing your insight today and for enriching this discussion. We really, really appreciated you sharing those comments, and we are very grateful for your contributions. At this time, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. And I'm quite proud to introduce him as well because he's one of Business for Peace's award honorees. His name is Sri, as he's known to us, and he is the Managing Director of Olam International, quite an important company in Nigeria. Sri will share with you his journey to becoming an ethical and responsible business leader in our session today, and briefly go into what we at Business for Peace like to call being business-worthy. We all know that the SDG agenda is a disruptive one in the business community, and Sri, as a business leader, has been able to turn a profit while contributing to societal impact and using business as a tool. Here, Olam is a prime example of being able to do good while being able to do well, seeing the opportunities that the SDGs present instead of viewing them only as challenges. Sri, please take it away. We're excited to hear your perspective.
Thank you, Caroline. Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Minister for Rural Development, Minister of Agri, the Special Representative to the President on SDG, the UNDP Resident Representative in Nigeria, the other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. A big good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all from wherever you are participating. Well, I'm really excited to participate in this forum. Not only because I was one of the, as Caroline said, I was one of the early Business for Peace awardees, but I see a clear focus, a sense of urgency, and so many people, so many from policymakers to the business community, to the funding community, to other NGOs, other agencies, all stakeholders coming into a single platform and really focusing on realizing the SDGs. Well, I'm, as Caroline said, I'm one of the early Business for Peace awardees. I was awarded in 2010. In a minute, I will just take you through that journey and what got us the award and where are we today. As you know, ULAM is an agribusiness company. We have a business model farm to fork. And we are present in more than 25 countries in Africa and 60 countries across the world. And, I was, as I said, I was awarded Business for Peace in 2010 for a project in Benue and Nasarawa states where a rice farming project, which we started way back in 2004, 2005. That time I was the country head for ULAM in Nigeria. So this was started in a small base of 300 farmers, and by the time in 2008, this project was given a UNDP award, and the award was given to us in UN General Assembly during 2008, and that project grew into a farmer base of more than 12,000 farmers in 2010. And during this period, the farmer yield had increased more than 3 times, and their income increased more than 4 times. And that's the kind of impact over a period of 5 years that project could create. But I still remember the speech I gave after receiving the award of our ambition of reaching a 1 million farmer goal in 10 years' time. And I'm happy to really share that as we look at in 2020, we had, as an organization, has exceeded that goal. And today, Pan-Africa, we have programs, farmer programs, which are, covering more than 1 million farmers. In Nigeria, particularly, it's more than almost close to 100,000 farmers. We are running various programs. What has started as in rice in Benue, today we have programs in sesame, cocoa, tomatoes, and various products across Nigeria. As it is like doing good can be a good business as well, as the minister has said and the special representative has said. As in all these projects, if you look at SDGs, whether it is zero hunger or eradicating poverty, access to good education, access to a good living standard, good water, climate action. So every one of our this project actually touches upon so many of these SDGs and creates livelihood, a positive impact on the farmer's livelihood. And so from my personal experience, there is a huge business sense. Yes, SDGs are good and we need to really focus and make it happen. And but as a businessman, I see a huge business opportunity as well. And that's where, this saying as doing good can be a good business. And I'm happy to see there's so many focus on funding those micro projects to really achieve those SDGs. As you know, we recover from the pandemic, as we recover from, look to recover from the pandemic, yes, we are still not fully out of it, but as we look to recover from the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and as we look to build back better all over, one of the things this pandemic has left is, apart from the health impact, the kind of social impact it has created by the pandemic is far-reaching. And that is going to take time to really bridge that, or build that gap, that social gap and the social impact created by this pandemic. And that's where, the SDGs come, and really the sense of urgency and the sense of focus we need to bring in to really achieve this SDGs, realize these SDGs. As we realize these SDGs, we would have built back an inclusive society, a better society, and we would have achieved, if you really look at all those 15 goals, it's nothing but really creating an inclusive, peaceful, sustainable society. And that's what every one of us, whether you are a government policymaker, whether you are an NGO, whether you are a businessman, and that's what we are striving for, and we are really the end game is. So I'm extremely happy to see that the kind of focus and the kind of sense of urgency shown by especially the governments. And here I would like to again thank the finance minister and also the Mr. President of Nigeria on the special focus and the kind of support they are giving to realize those SDGs. And that's really, very encouraging to see. For the business people who are participating in this, or you have your ideas on projects and this one where we can collaborate, or where we are happy as a company to collaborate with you to really, in SDG aligned projects, if you have any ideas. And I have my colleague Ade Adefeko is part of this forum. He would be available during the breakout session. You can reach out to him, and we will be happy to do our bit, in helping, in collaborating, in doing our bit in achieving, realizing the Sustainable Development Goals. And once again, thanks the Business for Peace Foundation, UNDP, and all others who made this event possible today. And thanks for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so very much, Sri, for sharing your inspirational words, experiences, knowledge, everything. Thank you very much for imparting that. On behalf of everyone, I can attest that your story is one we should all strive to adapt to in our professional environments. And I hope that those who've joined the call today are as equally inspired as I was. All right, we are off to an excellent start. We'd like to switch gears now, and I'm going to yield the floor to Amarikun Bandera, Senior Economic Advisor at UNDP Nigeria. For those who've just joined the call, we will now be starting a session where Amarikun will guide you through the methodology behind the SDG Investor Maps and the Nigerian results. As you know, these maps are a new data intelligence tool that allows you to identify relevant investment opportunities across Nigeria, and they are meant to be a robust one-stop shop for market intelligence around SDG investments in the region. So Amarikun, the floor is yours. Please take it away with your presentation.
Thank you very much, Alison. Thank you very much, Caroline. Let me share the screen. Honorable Ministers, Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, let me observe all protocols and go straight to the presentation. This is an overview of the SDG impact mapping exercise that we have done. Now, the reason that we have undertaken this initiative is because of the huge funding requirements to achieve SDGs. In Nigeria, it's roughly about $300 billion for the next 10 years. That comes to about roughly 10 billion a year. And our objective is, in fact, to bring in the private sector partners to this initiative so that we can broker the partnership between the government and the private sector for impactful investment in Nigeria. The audience, of course, is most of you, investors in particular, as well as the general partners and the co-investors who can use these tools to engage in investment in Nigeria. Now, as I said, total funding requirement is about $300 billion or 125 trillion naira. Out of it, we 3 trillion naira is on the public sector, and the 42 trillion is in private sector. Of course, we have several challenges in moving forward: inadequate information on SDG enabling investments, inadequate information on policy incentives, institutional bottlenecks. And this mapping exercise, in fact, try to help bridge that gap to bring in some of the information that is lacking, as well as, of course, later on, we will partner with the government and other stakeholders to address some of these issues. Now, in terms of impact intelligence that we are bringing in, we provide localized insight into sectors and market conditions that advance SDGs. Those insights are then shared with global investors through dynamic online platform, which is being put in place now. We also plan to convene SDG impact investors forums, initiatives like this one. Of course, our initial expectation was to bring all these investors to Nigeria, but because of the pandemic, we are having this virtually. We also intend to have policy roundtables hosted by UNDP in partnership with the government to bring together relevant policymakers to improve enabling environment for SDG enabling investments. Now, in terms of our exercise on investor mapping, we started off defining national priorities, looking at national development policies, development plans, and other policy initiatives to see what the priorities are, what the real investments needs are. And then we identified critical subsectors, sectors and subsectors in consultation with government and other stakeholders, and also the priority sub-regions before we pin down to some of the investment opportunity areas through the consultative process. Now, in terms of the results, we identified 8 priority sectors, including in renewable energy, agriculture, healthcare, infrastructure services, education, consumer goods, technology, and communication. And out of these, we prioritized 17 subsectors within those 8 priority sectors. It ranges from biofuel, wind tech, solar, to all the sectors that we are going to discuss today. Of course, today we are going to discuss only 3, but these stretch to all these sectors that is available. And out of these, we selected 21 investment opportunity areas cutting across all the SDGs, 17 SDGs. Now, each of these investment opportunity area is underpinned by 17 data points across 5 categories in terms of needs. We looked at development needs and also policy alignment, especially to achieve SDGs. And also, we give an overview as to where, how, and when could investment take place. As I said already, we have priority sectors, subsectors, as well as sub-regions. And then through the interviews with the local investors, we looked at the business model, return profile, market sizing, and the time frame for the businesses. We also looked at the enabling factors, in particular the political, financial, and partner environment, looking at different contexts. And also, we've reviewed the risk factors, especially looking from an investor's point of view, specifically, as I said, through the interviews we had the private sector investors. Of course, there are obstacles to scale, and also there are negative externalities. We will go into details of some of these in the next slide. And then we looked at how they are linked to the SDGs, or what is the impact of these investments on SDGs, SDG alignment and impact on SDG indicators, as well as IMP class. And then on the priority sectors and subsectors of all these IOAs, today we will present you on 3 sectors: renewable energy, agriculture, and healthcare. Under each of these, we have several subsectors: biofuels, wind tech and solar tech under renewable energy, and agriculture production, meat, poultry, and dairy under agriculture, as well as agricultural infrastructure. And then under healthcare, of course, we have healthcare delivery and healthcare management. Under these subsectors, we have several IOAs running from development to biomass plants for energy generation, installation and operation of windmills, solar hybrid mini grids, sustainable production of food crops, and investment in agro-industrial processing, livestock production, establishment of storage silos for agricultural value chain, and also manufacturing of healthcare consumable, as well as digital health management and telemedicine. So in terms of giving a brief account on how our consultation took place, of course, these are adapted at both national and subnational level, because most of the investment opportunity areas are at the national and subnational level. The process designed active participation from the private sector advisory group. Most of the investors that we interviewed are part of that initiative. And also the results to provide insight into the next medium-term development plan, because that is where the big impact will come in terms of policy initiatives. And then we feel the private investors, since they have already indicated interest in realigning their investment strategies according to the results of this mapping exercise. So this is basically the basis for the consultation of the mapping exercise. In terms of expected outcomes, our immediate or near-term outcome or objective is to facilitate productive discussion and ideation between local and global allocators of capital, companies, and government stakeholders under the framework of the SDGs. But we will move on to medium-term objectives in terms of building resilient investment relationships and foster uptake of UNDP product market intelligence, especially through the platforms that we are developing. In the long term, of course, our objective is to drive greater and more diverse volumes of capital to accelerate SDG progress in Nigeria. So next steps is, the immediate one is, of course, this facilitation event, but we expect at some point to bring in the investors to Nigeria as well, if the situation permits. And then, of course, we will have public-private dialogues to broker the ideas between the private sector and the public sectors, and then national SDG strategies to provide market intelligence to policymakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amer Kun, for that wonderful presentation. We're very grateful to hear your insights and have UNDP Nigeria share those preliminary methodology results. Before we continue in the itinerary of the program, I'd just like to share a message from our help desk. We really would appreciate if everyone who's taking part in the session could take the next minute to verify that your full name and company name are the name that you have provided for this Zoom call as your name. The reason that we point this out is because we are shortly going to reconvene into breakout groups. And in order to list you appropriately in the breakout group that you selected prior to joining the session, we need to be able to identify your name and your company to match you for the session. So please, I request, as I said, to repeat, that you take a moment to just double check one more time that you have your full name and company name listed as your Zoom name so that we can get you sorted properly into the correct session. Great, I'll just wait about 30 seconds. We can all do that, and then we'll resume the scheduled programming. Please stand by. Okay. Fantastic. I have now reviewed it. I see that people have been diligent and checking their names, and that it now seems like the outstanding issues have been sorted. So I'm very grateful for you all to be joining our session. I hope you've been enjoying the input we've had from our wonderful speakers, the Honourable Minister, and from UNDP Nigeria on what we're all here for, the Impact Investment Facilitation event. So we have now reached the part of the program where we're going to actively engage with all of you. I'm very excited about this, for us to join into these breakout group sessions. So now is the time we'll answer your questions. Any that I've flagged from the chat here? None? Okay, so then I think we'll proceed forward with going into our session. So thank you again, Americoon, for your presentation. Now I'd like to make sure that we have enough time to review the exciting guests and representatives that we'll have in our sessions, including the following honorable ministers and representatives. If you'll bear with me for one moment, we'd also like to add that we'll be sending a post-event survey and that we will disclose the contact details of who you can contact should you have any outstanding questions regarding Americoon's presentation. Great, I'm seeing some questions, okay. All right, I've gotten word that we're ready to begin. So for now, we're going to convene into our sector-specific breakout rooms. You have all already indicated your preference and will now be directed to your selected breakout room below. Here, one of our colleagues is already awaiting you to greet you and take you into your deep dive sector. We're happy to announce that we have the following ministers available for us joining today and giving their gracious time, as well as our wonderful moderators. So our honorable ministers and representatives are the following: the Minister of Environment, Mr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, Minister of State for Health, Mr. Olurunimbi Mamora, and additionally, we have a representative from the Ministry of Agriculture and a representative from the Ministry of Power joining us to speak. Finally, we're thrilled to have these sessions moderated by three absolutely terrific moderators. For our healthcare session, I'm pleased to be joined by Dr. Olubunmi Ogbodu. For the renewable energy session, we'll be joined by Ms. Ibi Ogubiyi. And finally, for the agriculture session, we will be